Okay. All right. It's time for real raw recovery. I'm Joe Tilley.
Tyler Tilley.
And here we are. I'm in Whitby today.
Whitby.
Whitby.
Doing what?
Meeting a friend. And then meeting another friend after that in Newcastle. And I already met a friend in Bowmanville, so meeting lots of friends today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Look at me. Look at me sitting here in Whitby. Look at me. What are you doing?
Painting. Really hard this week.
Painting.
Or this week.
Why is it hard?
I'm opening up the new shop on Saturday.
Okay.
And I really want like a strong painting. It's a long story, but so I'm gonna have two shops.
Okay.
And I set a goal to paint this painting, and it's turning out to be very challenging.
Right.
And so it'll require me for like a solid week with very little like doing anything else for that matter.
Yeah, well, that's sometimes paintings are more challenging than others, right? Like sometimes.
Oh yeah, like I got a little upset at myself. Like, so okay, I have a new shop and it's going to be renovated into a double stall. Like, so right now they're like it's a single stall and we're going to knock down the wall, right?
Okay.
But I just have I get a full weekend where I have one single stall and it's really clean, really like looks really good. And I wanted a centerpiece on the back wall, and I wanted just to have a centerpiece and then maybe two other paintings on each other wall, and very minimalistic. Yep. And I had a goal in mind to paint this piece, and I could have painted something else. In retrospect, that would have been a lot easier. And so like after I started, I kind of got a little bit bummed, and there's probably been about 10 times I wanted just to paint, like start a different painting.
Mm-hmm.
So I stuck with it, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's just like it's a personal thing, but it's weird. One part of my brain would just say like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. And then another part of my brain is just like, it's kind of like what it's all about for me. So it's weird to balance. Like I'm really curious to see, because no one has a stall, and everybody's stall for the most part is jam packed with paintings, right? Like you're selling to tourists.
Right.
No one has like a stall where they just rented it out and put one painting in there. That's kind of what I want. That was kind of the vision.
Right.
And then I could almost act like this. And then like by doing that, it would just really accentuate it and almost increase its value just because it's like its presence, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
I know. So that was kind of that's what made me so excited. And I thought, okay, it's a big painting. It's a portrait of a face, but it's not normal. If it was a normal portrait, I would have probably would have made my timeline no problem.
Right.
But I'm doing something I've never done before, and is it challenging. So the worst case scenario is it doesn't get done, but it's kind of like I'm sacrificing the whole week. And then if it doesn't get done, it'll be like I really didn't need to do all this. Like I didn't need to push myself to this degree. If it's not going to get done, I should definitely not be behaving this way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you're at that point where you don't know if it can get done or not.
Correct.
Right. Correct. So if it gets done, great. If it doesn't get done, great.
Well, no.
Not great, but if it doesn't get done and you've already made that commitment, that's not great, right? But yeah.
Yeah, so
It doesn't
like
matter. It doesn't
personal
matter, but
thing.
it really does matter. Like it's kind of like
Right.
conflicted that way. Yeah,
Right. But then like the problem is if I don't like then it'll just be a hack job. I throw up shit paintings that I've had like have not shit painting, but just paintings that I don't have the same energy around, I should say.
yeah, yeah,
And like, okay, fine, like, you know, hopefully they sell or whatever. But it's just different where it's like, hey, I did this for this week for this like this. And it's kind of like how like so it's a week commitment. And then like, okay, if it doesn't get done, it'll get done next week. But then next week's all renovations and I'm dealing with a partner now, so it's not the same highlighted room with a painting in it.
yeah.
So I'm just going through that.
Well, either way, it'll work out.
Or it won't.
Either way, it'll work out, or it won't. Okay. Either way, it's going to be what it is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Moment of silence?
Yeah. Moment of silence. Okay. Serenity we prayer. God, grant us a serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference.
You want me to read today?
Sure.
Okay, driven. Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity, we step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Page Alcoholics Anonymous, page 62. My selfishness was the driving force behind my drinking. I drank to celebrate success and I drank to drown my sorrows. Humility is the answer. I learned to turn my will and my life over to the care of God. My sponsor tells me that service keeps me sober. Today I ask myself, have I sought the knowledge of God's will for me? Have I done service for my AA group?
So I get out of selfishness with humility and service to others, my group and others. Yeah, that makes sense.
Get this. So I'm painting cousin Danny, who passed away, over 2 years ago.
Yep.
And I feel really great about that because it'll end up being a gift, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had, I painted, of course, Spencer, and I painted, my friend Kyle, who passed away probably like 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
I painted a portrait of him. I didn't end up giving it to anybody, but I gave the prints to somebody who reached out about it. And then kind of painted some other portraits of people that are still alive and gifted it to them. But I had recently a lady who both her sons died.
Oh yeah, remember you told me something.
And she reached out again, and so I'm going to paint something for her. I haven't figured out how to. She's anticipating paying me. The right thing to do, or one option, would not to charge her, and that's what I'm leaning towards. But it's just something I got to really figure out. But I feel like that act of service really aligns with my life and what I'm all about, and like what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And then I had another guy who his younger brother, died of an overdose, I believe, about 8 years ago. And this guy reached out and wants me to paint a portrait of his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy actually happens to be in the program too. The guy from Los Angeles.
Okay.
And when that happened, that one I'll charge for that.
Yeah.
But before I even got excited about like the commission, I just got like, man, there's something to this, and I just kind of realized, like, I don't think I'm necessarily selfish, but my lifestyle is very not isolated, but very confined, and like I don't it's kind of like I've kind I guess the epiphany for me is I've kind of held out so long for this. Like this is kind of what I'm holding out for. Like instead of I better try something other, try other. Like it's kind of like no, like just that day that those two. The one lady asked me a long time ago, and then she just disappeared. But then she wrote me again,
Yeah.
and then I believe the same day the guy asked me to paint a portrait of his brother, his late brother, and I thought like, oh, that's yes, like, and but then it's like, but I'm charging, so then how do you like now is that service is to be selfless, right? But I just felt like it aligned in a very interesting way where I'm painting another portrait of a guy's father. His father's still alive, but again, I'm actually charging quite a lot for that one. But um, uh, it feels so meaningful. So maybe worth throwing the ball back into your court on that because I can't be doing portraits for free. But
No, of course.
I guess I want to spin it where I feel good about myself and think that I'm doing service in a way because I'm using my talent to bring people like a really good feeling. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, and that yeah. See, but I think there's there's two different ways to look at that. I believe it is. I don't believe it's service, but I think it's what it is gratification, knowing that what you're doing is bringing joy to other people. It's kind of like when it's like being proud of your work because your work has it's being proud of your work because your work has benefits to people more than just more than just face value. It's like for example, if my work for if I decided that being a sportscaster, I deliver the sports and I offer entertainment to people, and it's a good distraction from crazy shit going on in the world and all that other stuff. And I'm happy because I'm able to do that, to bring kind of add a little bit of distraction and fun to people's lives in during hard times. I mean, so that part of it, I can feel good about what I do. I wouldn't call it service, though. I wouldn't call it service. Service is kind of like I think for me it's we talked about it here a little bit. It's that it's involved with humility. Um, so um, humility, and it gets me away from the fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, self-pity by being of service to other, and that offers humility is the answer. So I'm being humble, and by doing things for other people, it's a way of me getting out of myself and getting away from the self-seeking and self-delusion and self-pity, and so that's I think both. I think in both cases, when you're doing something that other people are benefiting from, that's great. It's great. But I think I still need to be of service in a way which doesn't benefit me in any financial way, or the only way that it benefits me is I feel good because I'm doing something for somebody else, and I'm feeling good. I feel good because the only reason I'm doing it is to be of service. So I mean, yeah, I think it's great that you're doing work that benefits other people in a positive way and offers them some comfort, offers them some a feeling of connection with their loved ones, either deceased or not. So I mean, that's great. That's a wonderful thing. It's not the same as service, but it's great.
But what about if I do the one painting for the girl who lost her voice for no charge?
Yeah, that now that is service. You see, that is definitely service, and I see a big difference there.
Right.
At the same time, you know, like you can't be doing stuff for free a lot, because if you do like a lot of stuff for free, you don't pay your bills.
Right.
So, you know,
But I don't know. I don't feel that good about like when I like ideally if I'm in a good position, I don't charge.
yeah,
Because that feels like that'd be a fun thing to do.
yeah,
The portrait with Danny, I don't charge. It's family, and I feel like it's a that one's more clear that I wouldn't like. They didn't ask for it. It's not like it was just like an idea. I just wanted to paint him, and I thought it was the right. It aligns with a lot of things that I'm doing.
right.
So yeah, like I just super excited about that. So I feel like that is in a sense a service with cousin Nanny
Mm-hmm.
because there won't be any monetary gain or anything.
Yeah, but that'll be great. I mean, geez, that'll be so much.
Yeah, because
That'll be so
I'm
cool.
looking at it right now and it looks really good. It doesn't.
So no, if they listen to this podcast, they're gonna know about it.
They won't listen to this podcast.
Okay.
We have one listener. His name's Jason.
Jason from Toronto. Hey, Jason from Toronto. Thanks for listening.
Jason owns a landscaping business. You can reach him at.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess kind of what I'm getting at, I can clearly see how it's not service if I'm charging. Now the question to throw back at you just to see if you can put a hard yes or no. Is it service when I'm giving away, it doesn't even have to be somebody necessarily deceased, but a gift for somebody. In this case, I know I'm going to throw like, I'm giving, there's definitely one, possibly two paintings to individuals who lost somebody as a token of love.
As a gift, yeah.
Right, and
yeah.
a gift. And is that service?
I would say so.
Is that going
100%.
to keep me sober, as the reading just said?
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's service. Now, is that enough? No, I wouldn't say so. I think that's one of the things that we have to do is to be of service.
No, I know, but I'm just going back to the reading. The reading said, my sponsor tells me that service keeps me sober.
Yeah, I would just maybe add the provision that my sponsor tells me that service helps keep me sober. That's what I'd say.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not disagreeing with the reading, are you?
No, not the reading. I know, because you know what I mean. It would be like, you know.
Oh, you're gone, sir. Hello?
Okay. Yeah. So I wouldn't say disagreeing with the reading. I would say that so I think that can you hear me?
It's not as good.
Okay, so okay, here we go. Okay, this is better now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not disagreeing with the reading. What I'm saying is, like, you know, it's being like picky, right? It's picky to point out that like service service helps keep me sober versus service keeps me sober, because I have to do more than just be of service. I have to do, you know, I believe that I have to do everything. I have to do like a constant, you know, I have to do a 10 step every day. I have to do 11 step every day. I have to, um, you know, and being service is something else I have to do. And if I do all those things, then I'm going to be happier. And if I'm happy and comfortable in my own skin and all that stuff, then I'm going to be able to stay sober. So I think it's combination. So service alone is not going to keep me sober, and I've actually seen that. I've seen that in real time. A guy who was really involved in service work, at the group level and at the GSR table, and even beyond that, busy, 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 being a service a lot, but ended up getting drunk. So I think, it's great to be of service. It's great to find ways to be of service. That's going to be really helpful for my sobriety, but it's not going to be the whole package.
What else you got?
Um, so I think that's pretty much it for the reading. I think that's all I got to say about the reading. I think anything you want to add about that? Anything? I guess you're probably in agreement with what I said.
Didn't Dr. Bob at his last speech in Montreal say that it boils down to love and service?
Well, and Bill Wilson says, and in the book it says, like, you know, uh, work with another alcoholic will always save the day. You know, when we're in a bad place, we feel like shit hits the fan. Um, that and we're things aren't going our way. We're feeling self pity. I'm in a lousy place. I feel like maybe a freaking drink wouldn't be a bad idea right now. Um, then I go find somebody to work with. I'll go help a drunk. You know, I mean, working with another drunk is what's going to be what saves the day.
Maybe. It'll definitely eat up your time.
Yeah, yeah, because you know what, Dan, after when I finished working with an alcoholic, when I finished working with another drunk, and I been helping them, even if it's sharing a little bit about my story or talking to them and listening to them, and you know and just having a conversation where they relate, and and it's just good. It's just, yeah, that'll definitely help me out, right?
Yeah.
And when I'm finished, I'm gonna feel better. But because Bill says, like in his story, he said, if an alcoholic failed to perfect and enlarge his spiritual life through work and self-sacrifice for others, he could not survive the certain trials and low spots ahead. And many times I've gone to my old hospital in despair. On talking to a man there, I would be amazingly lifted up and set on my feet. It is a design for living that works in rough going. And that gets us out of our self-pity and resentment, right? Because, people like me have the tendency to get caught up in self-pity and resentment. And one of my big deals is like proving I'm right,
Right.
and wanting to be right.
Right.
So one way to get me out of this desire to be right and wanting to prove I'm right is if I'm working with if I just try to help another alcoholic, and that's pretty easy. Jesus, there probably, like, if I go through my phone directory, there's probably 100 guys that I can phone right now and just start talking to them. And I know that would, guys I haven't seen for a while or whatever, I know it would be helpful for them and helpful for me. And after hanging up from that conversation, I'd say to myself, you know what, that was great. I feel good now. And we can do that anytime. We can be of service that way anytime. And I can tell you one thing. I guarantee you, when you are finished those paintings and you get a chance to deliver the paintings or have them delivered, whatever.
Yeah.
You're going to be feeling freaking amazing.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what service is all about.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Do you feel like we're doing service right now, or is it just?
Yeah, I think so. I see. I think I want to certainly look at it like that. I want to look at it like being of service, and then whoever listens, whoever gets something out of it, that's great. That's just the way it is. And yeah, and I hope that between the two of us and our like 45 whatever years, 46 years of sobriety, that we're able to help people, at a level that's pretty good. We might offer something that you just don't get everywhere.
Right.
And I think that's great. Because you can go online and get speaker tapes and stuff like that, and it's great. I mean, I listen to speaker CDs and I find them uplifting and beneficial for me.
I thought you were going to say enraging.
Not speaker tapes don't generally get me enraged. I have to listen to the radio for that. Listen to talk radio, then I can get enraged.
Right.
But right now, I'm best not listening to that. So that's funny. I made it a point. I've been listening to talk radio and stuff that's going on, and it was enraging me. So yesterday I plugged in a speaker CD, really good Al-Anon CD actually, a lady named Larcene, and it was great. It was really good. Yeah. And really helped me to get into a better state of mind, because listen to somebody's opinion on something can be taxing, because what happens is I start to give my own opinion and yada yada yada, and I think what I think is important, and
right.
I want to prove other people. I want to get on there and tell the world how they're wrong and I'm right, whatever. Yeah, so it's not a good place for me to be. And I like the fact that I'm able to catch myself and just plug in a freaking Al-Anon CD or just listen to some music for a while or something. Good to do that. And I'm hoping that what we're doing is offering people something like that, right? Food for thought that's not controversial, like that's not you're gonna hate somebody for, somebody that so food for thought that somebody in recovery can go, okay, I can use that, or even if somebody can say, no, that doesn't work for me, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, and if that's the case, right? Like, respond to that, right? Because I remember when our listener mentioned that he was having trouble with the power, so it's a good talking point for us.
Right.
Something to expand on, and
I think I do it
yeah,
for me, and then a byproduct would be that it's of use for somebody. And
yeah,
and another thing is it's kind of like maybe I'll hit another hurdle because maybe it comes with maturity, but right now I would rather hold hold down the fort with an opinion and be wrong, like be willing to be wrong, and maybe perhaps whether it's correct myself or amend my if I see a different angle later on, maybe I have to amend my words or correct myself. But I do that not just I do that so that the difference of just talking to you and the difference of recording as well, like that is in the back of my mind. And I just think that if I was listening to just two guys talk about sobriety, I probably wouldn't listen. I don't find it entertaining. I don't find it. Maybe they have like a kick-ass episode that I'll catch one time, but I'm not going to regularly listen unless there is like a new wave of thinking or objectionable logic or like something that's meaty and challenging my own thinking or and not even just to be a heel like to go like da, 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 like today I don't feel that objection, I don't feel that um my my brain
you
is
don't feel like being a shit disturber today.
right. But like if I don't like I think if I didn't do that I'd be like, why am I recording this then? Why don't we just talk and like but if I have the mentality and it's honest, like usually when I'm saying things, it's brutally honest. I I think that it's worth like okay, at least recording it, doing it for myself, and then if someone ends up listening to it, and it sparks like real like emotions or real like I don't know, like I think then it. But if I'm again like if I was just listening with no controversy, I wouldn't listen. Why would I listen? And the same goes with like a good speaker though. Like a good speaker is somebody who's gone through hell and back, right? Not someone who's
Mm-hmm.
just fucking like copacetic and like kind of like numb and like no energy. That's why I was like all about Chris Raymer 5 years ago, is because he like brought me back to life a little bit because he held his ground even if he was wrong. Like even if he was like, hey, I said that, that's clearly either not true or like just offensive maybe. But he held his ground and like, I'm gonna stick with that. And that's why, people that are balls deep in AA know that guy because he's a fucking mouthpiece. And I just feel like, yeah, I'm going to listen to that tape because he gets my motor going. If you want to listen to like a meditation podcast, I don't want that to be our podcast. Like that's not my MO. Fall asleep listening to our podcast doesn't sound exciting. So I think there has to be something in the dial. Like I just don't find like kind of like if I won't name names, but if he was listening to you and another guy that just agrees with everything you're saying, like, okay.
Yeah.
What do you
No,
think?
I hear what you're saying. It is when you hear some when you hear some conflict. Conflict is exciting to listen to. And like, but it's also it's to me it's like offering food for thought. Like I like to do that. Like I think it's great to offer food for thought, and I think it's great to be offered food for thought. So I'll listen to something, and somebody be offering me food for thought, and I'll be listening to that going, it's allowing me to think out of the box. Um, it's giving me reason to sort of think out of where I normally think. Um, I'm looking at something in a different way, perhaps. It's allowing me to have a little bit of a aha moment. Um, yeah, so stuff like that. That's it's good. It inspires some kind of thought.
I
It
get to
inspires.
that by I get to
Deep,
that. Go ahead.
yeah. No, I was just saying deep thought or whatever. Yeah, go ahead. You get to
Off,
that how?
I often get to the like those aha moments by challenging things because 50% of the chance, 50% of the time, like maybe more, like I'm wrong, and I'm like, no, like you clearly need to do, um, like okay, even this is not my best example, but even when we're talking about, I was saying like steps 6 and 7 are the most important steps. Do you remember that?
Yep.
I kind of used to hold on to that. I remember like for a long time, and then after talking to you about it, I lost a lot of energy around like proving that point. Like I didn't feel like I needed to prove that anymore, but I
Yeah.
needed to challenge. Like I only got to that conclusion by like really challenging and putting it out there, and like even if I knew that like that doesn't like, but just like going all in. Like if you go all in, there's going to be some points that are weaker than others, and some points that might even not necessarily be fully true. But then like when you lay it all out on the table, you can really start seeing like the forest for the trees. You can clearly start going like, I don't know if I really believe that, and maybe it's not even that. Maybe that's not a fight I need to. I don't need to like hang on to that anymore. And so I get a lot of my discovery through challenging things, and like saying like, oh, service is useless. Like if that was my take, right?
Yeah.
I might come to the real like by talking. I'm like, no, like there's a lot of my own experience of great growth has been through service and those kinds of things, and like kind of coming to because I feel like I have a really sound mind and like a really good relationship with myself where I still need to run it by other people, but I still believe the majority of the time I go, no, that what you're saying right now, Tyler, is bullshit. Like it doesn't add up. So like I have that ability to kind of be rational, and I get a lot of that aha moments through challenging things, and that's just kind of, and that's why I was saying earlier, maybe that's just a phase in my life where I like that's where I'm going through, like challenging just like everything we read instead of just going, yep, that sounds good. Going like, wait a minute, does it? Does it sound good? Is it make sense really, or does it just sound good, or does it just and and then maybe
But you could also analyze it and analyze it and say, why does it sound good? What is it about this that is good?
right.
Like just to sort of help to analyze it to figure it out. And again, I think that's gonna want something that could lead to one of those aha moments where you come to you get an epiphany. You say, "Wow, that's why it works." Oh, that's cool to kind of get that epiphany. And yeah, because we like you said, challenging. Like when we have those aha moments, they're stimulating. Like it's really good for me to have those moments. Like, oh God, it just feels good to get it. It feels good to get it, to understand something at a level where I've never understood it before. And I think that's what, we need to get challenged that way. I agree with you. We need to get challenged on an intellectual level. We need to get challenged on an emotional level. And I think that's what keeps us from dying of boredom, right? It was just the same thing over and over and over again. It's like, whoa, I'm not getting challenged. I'm not getting inspired. I'm not getting anything, and nothing's happening here. I'm just living life.
But you're not much
and
of
some,
a challenger.
what's that?
It doesn't seem like you're much of a challenger. You just kind of like go with the
Well,
flow.
but again, what I was saying, understanding things on a different level. I mean, if sometimes I can get that from challenging something, but sometimes analyzing something, or sometimes looking at something on a looking at something at a deeper level, it brings me to those aha moments, that having those epiphanies, having those times when I go, oh, this is cool. I'm understanding this at a different level. I'm in a, I wish I could think of an example right now of how, I don't know. I guess sometimes if I look at it, it's like maybe understanding what humility was all about for the first time, and seeing the benefit of it. Because, up to a certain point in my life, I didn't understand humility. I didn't get humility. I didn't see the need for it. And I didn't see the benefit of having humility until I had a sense of humility. And then I realized, oh my God, this is great. I'm kind of out of ego right now, and I really enjoy it. I'm kind of like, it's not all about me right now, and I really enjoy it. I feel like a connection to the power right now, and I'm really enjoying it. That's kind of, that would be the epiphany for me, is finding that sense of humility and experiencing that for the first time, or experience it at any time. Because I mean, I can get out of my ego for a while, and find that place of humility, and think, I feel good right now. You know, that can happen to me anytime. So I sort of feel like that's happening a little bit right now. I'm feeling that, just talking about that is sort of give me a little a sense of it, of what humility is all about. And only I think only when I'm in it, only when I experience it, can I really see what the benefit's all about. What's the big deal with this humility thing? But I can clearly see what's not humility.
But do you think you need both? Do you think you need, as a human being, you need to experience times where you're just an egotistical maniac and you either you take advantage of that and you can grow from it, or do you think that you don't need that experience?
I don't know. I mean, I can't see. I mean, just if you ask me right now, I can't think of the benefits of being an egotistical maniac. Where's the benefit of that? I can't see that. I can see the benefits of humility, and being able to stand aside. And for example, if there was if two people had differing opinions, they were standing right beside me, and one person had this real strong opinion from one side, and the other guy had a real strong opinion from the other side, and it was an agreement with one of them, and I just allowed myself to step aside and not get involved, and not having to prove one side wrong or one side right, or anything like that. I think that's a sense of humility that I really can benefit from. And from being the egotistical maniac who wants to prove that I'm right and has to yell at you and tell you you're wrong and this is the way it is and blah 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 blah. If I'm there, I don't see the benefit of that. Like you were just saying, like is there a benefit to? Do you need both? I'm gonna say no. I don't need to be there. I don't need to be in that egotistical place. I don't think it serves me.
I do.
Okay. And how would that serve you?
Because I think it's a balancing. It's always balance. I think that one moment you go too far radical on any side, you start losing so many important lessons. And I don't necessarily need it suggesting that you keep making the same mistake where you still. But I feel like there's a life force in that. There's a life force in having an ego, and there's a life force when knowing when to not either to go all in, for example, to go all in, like I was making earlier, like, no, I'm going to hold my ground on this one. And most cases I would say, no, that's probably not the best idea because it's not worth it. But the moment you choose your battles, like you go, no, this battle is really important to me. I won't get specifically politics, but you're going to like, you're going to like, no, this guy, I don't like him. I'm not going to like, I'm going to hold my ground on that. And it's kind of like, it's egotistical, but it's also being true to yourself. But I believe that you need the ego in order to, because if you start pinpointing people like, no, this person's right, this person's wrong, it might come down to that, but that doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Like I am there's times where I believe that's like, I need to believe this in order to achieve this. And that's the ego, right? And so it's really important that, and I really believe that has to be in balance and in check as well. But it's like even just my like a lot of things that I'm doing in my life, many times it's like you might I don't know, this might be too difficult to unravel this quickly, but it's kind of like going down with the ship. The captain stays on the ship even if it goes down, right?
Yeah.
That would be an ego thing, would it not? That would be an egomaniac.
To go down with the ship?
Yeah.
Are you mean in a figurative way or literal way? Are you talking about like I'm the captain of the ship and I'm going down with the ship because that's what captains do?
Well, that's how I'm using it, but I'm also taking it from like my understanding. I'm not a captain, but I believe that if the ship's going down, you have to stay on the ship.
Right.
And I'm sure that.
So yeah. So listen, I mean that's the opposite of humility. It's like I have to keep protecting my ego. I have to keep protecting my ego thought, even if it's kind of proving to be wrong.
Right. And I believe that there's a time and a place for that. I don't believe that you get to write all of that off.
Right.
I'm saying that there's a time where I'm like, no, I'm going down with the ship. I'm all in. And I believe that I grow the most from those experiences.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there's times where I'm like, I'm so fucking glad you gambled it all, risked it all. And there's other times where I go, that was the worst mistake of my life.
Right.
And I believe that's what it's all about. I believe the moment that I try to go like, I'm going to live like an egoless, carefree, like non-existent, like I find it more valuable to go like, no, this is a battle I'm all in. And I'm not going to let somebody change my mind today. Maybe like I can't speak forever, but like I'm holding my ground here, and I'm going down with the ship. And I'm not saying you do that with everything. If you get your order wrong at Tim Hortons or McDonald's, it'd be really easy just to be humbly and go, hey, like, yeah, no, we all make mistakes. All good, man. Thanks for the there's I'm not saying that's the battle you need to choose. You need to be wise about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are noble causes, and there are noble causes, and that for example, okay, so I decided that I think we should end slavery,
Right.
and so I'm going to make that my noble cause, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that it happens, and I'll go down with the ship,
right,
to make sure it happens, right? And so so I end I spend my whole lifetime working at trying to end slavery and doing what I can in slavery, and I feel good about that, and I think maybe that's something I can hang my hat on. It's a cause that I can go down swinging for, right?
right.
So yeah, so there would be a certain noble causes that make sense to support through the bitter end,
But I think that's
but
the ego.
but that's still, I guess, related to the ego,
Right.
because if I truly trust that, like, okay, I have a certain there's a certain amount I can do to further my cause, to help my to help further my cause. There's certain things I can do, but there's certain things I can't do, and I think I have to have a sense of what it is I can and what it is I can't do. Like there's like like your mom likes to say, there's three types of business: my business, your business, and God's business. What part of this is God's is your business, and what part of this is God's business, and what is it that, how can I stay in my business and do what I can to help this cause? Because once I get out of my business into your business and God's business, I'm going to be hurting myself, I believe. I'm going to be fighting a battle that's hurting me.
I just think that the experiences, like I brought him up before, but Muhammad Ali saying he's the greatest. I believe you cannot lose that, and I believe that is the real meaning of being a human being, is to have certain things that you go all in on,
right? And to believe it, like, and have that commitment to believe it, because I think what turned me on to that, to Ali, and being who he was, is that I believe that he believed that. And because I believe that he believed that, I actually believe that he was, right?
Right.
At that time, in his career, at that time in the world, he was the greatest. He was the best. And I believed it. He believed it. He believed it. I believed it. I think a lot of people believed it.
Right.
And I think that was maybe that was new at the time. I think you'll see more of that now today.
Right.
But when he came out with it, that was new. That was a new way of thinking. That was like the non so-called humble way of thinking.
Right.
But I think that particular way of looking at it served him.
Right.
And it was good.
So I got a question for you, because I feel like I'm kind of going all over the map, but where are you the greatest?
The greatest.
Yeah. Where
Okay, so I am the greatest combination of
one thing.
oh yeah, but it's a combo. My thing's a combo. I'm the greatest combo.
All right, go ahead.
So I'm the greatest combo. Like I mean, this collection here, the that I am made up of, is a combination of thinking, um, doing, feeling, and I think that that particular combination has but that combination of who I am has an ability to help others in a specific way that is my experience combined with my thinking and feeling and doing puts me in a way to be uniquely different from other people and uniquely useful to people.
Okay, so that sounds
So
like a
that's
really
where I'm the greatest.
a humble answer. That sounds like a very humble, down the line answer, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
maybe this week I'd like to give you some homework
Okay.
and think about it again. Is there one place that you can put a pin in it and say, I'm the greatest at this? And what I'm thinking of, I'm actually, it's more about me. Like I'm asking
Have you got a place where you can put the pin?
well, that's what, okay. So that's where I was getting at, but I really want to hear from you because I'm afraid that if I say it, not that it'll sound super egotistical, but that I don't believe it.
Ah,
That's the fear.
that's what you're afraid of.
Because I
The
could give
fear
you
is that
that.
you're
I
going to
could give,
say it, but you don't really believe it.
and I could give you the same answer you gave me with like by snapping my fingers. Oh, well, I'm a combination, and this on Tuesdays I'm really good at drinking coffee, and Wednesdays I can really
Well,
like.
no, there's nobody who's ever had the experience of life and everything else that I've had that that offers the same ability to be uniquely useful. That's what I would say is my greatest asset, and that what makes me the greatest.
I know. So I'm for your homework. I'm just saying that you might still come up with the same answer, but I'm
Yeah.
throwing out a just to see, and maybe we won't even record it because if it how dare you say you're the greatest at something specific,
Yeah.
correct?
Right.
And so it's almost very like that, and that's kind of why that's this whole thing about the ego is that if the moment I say I'm the greatest artist, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit, does that change everything?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fear around that. We can break that down another time, but like there's a lot of fear around that. And then there's the element of like have you ever seen so and so's art? Have you ever seen so and so's art? You know how many times people said that to Muhammad Ali?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen Foreman's right hand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like so, and he still dared to say it. And how many times did he lose even? Right? How many times did Muhammad Ali lose?
How many times did he lose?
4?
I'm probably maybe six
Right.
or eight. I can't.
Yeah,
Because he lost to Trevor Burbick, and at the end he lost lost to Holmes, and he lost to Burbick, and he was kind of done. He lost to Spinks, and he lost
Holmes,
to
didn't he lose
Fraser,
to Holmes?
he lost to Fraser, he lost to Holmes, he lost to Spinks, he lost to Jimmy Ellis, he lost to Trevor Burbick. And I think that was his last fight. He was done by then.
Yeah, I'm just really curious on like a really deep level if I could get something out of you where you say, you know what, if it comes down to it, I'm the best at this.
Yeah.
And because I think that's where the ego's positive, Dad. Like if I had the gumption to say that, it might change my whole world. And I definitely don't think for the lesser. And
Yeah.
and that's kind of where I'm talking about, like, and if I can get even closer than that, that's where I have these great experiences where I'm like, this painting is the best at JJ. Okay,
Yeah.
that's quite a far cry from being the best artist in the world, but it's at least it's a stake. At least it's stating something that I believe to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not asking for opinion like, oh, my home group's the best. Like, no, get a little like real, like, and I don't know. So like I'm personally I personally work on that kind of stuff, like where I believe that helps me, like that. Maybe like maybe it's like, for example, if this is the best painting at JJ and someone tries to get a big discount, it's like, no, I'm going to hold off because it's the best painting at this market, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's like kind of like, but I want to go bigger than that. I want bigger. And I believe that your ego helps with your dreams. Like, if you don't believe in it, then why are you going to like jot it down? And I feel like you have to, like, your ego actually takes really good care of you if it's in check and it's balanced.
Yeah. Well, I think I want to, okay, I want to do, I'll take home that homework and I'll think about that. And in the meantime, I want to read something. This is like, actually, this is a speech from Marianne Williamson.
Who's running for president.
Yeah, that's funny, eh? Right? Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So I think that's kind of a little bit of what Ali did when he said he was the greatest. It kind of allowed other people to look at their own greatness, right? And it's kind of evolved from there too. But anyway, I think it's time we have to close it up.
All right.
Okay, so let's close with the Serenity We prayer.
Okay.
God,
God,
grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference.